libraries in our digital society. 115 years ago, Andrew Carnegie provided the New York Public Library with 60 branch buildings. With a library in almost every neighborhood, New Yorkers had a place to get together and educate themselves. Today, however, a growing number of people believe that the library is becoming obsolete because of the internet, e-books, and audiobooks. However, if you'd ask any librarian, they would tell you that the library does far more than book loading. It remains an integral part of our society despite the ever-growing number of technological advances. A local library adds value to a neighborhood that cannot be replaced, and here's why. According to David Morris in his article, The Public Library Manifesto, which was published on yesmagazine.org on May 6, 2011, the American Public Library's main purpose is to protect the public's access to information. Why? Well, because libraries were not always open to the public. In fact, lower-income citizens did not have access to libraries, which previously required a subscription. It was not until April of 1833 that the public library emerged in New Hampshire, a library that was accessible to all citizens and was free of charge. The neighborhood's collective knowledge was no longer reserved exclusively for the elite. This opened up new ways for people to educate themselves. And by 1910, every state in America had a public library. The library also kept its patrons informed on current events. For example, those who could not afford the morning paper still had access to its information through the library. Today, those who do not have internet access at home will have it at the library. Now, you may be thinking, who doesn't have internet access today? Well, according to Jen Savage in her article, our library is still important. 15% of Americans do not have internet at home. Furthermore, libraries offer mobile internet hotspots that can be rented for up to a year. Though the public library's services extend beyond book lending and free Wi-Fi. For example, Ian Clark, in his article, We Still Need Libraries in the Digital Age, which was published in 2010, said that librarians are trained to properly and accurately pull information from the internet, a skill that is incredibly useful for college students. Likewise, librarians are there to assist students in their research, whether this be through books or online databases. Now, please allow me to return for a moment to Savage's article, Our Library is Still Important, because she had a few good points. Libraries also provide study rooms, though they are not exclusively for students. They also have conference rooms and event rooms with equipment such as projectors and 3D printers, which are ready for use. According to Lynn Weeks in the article, Do We Really Need Libraries? Libraries also cater to children and host activities such as Story Hour and educational reading classes. Similarly, they give language classes to immigrants. Libraries are not simply old buildings with old books. They are information hubs and valuable resource centers for educational and personal purposes. Unfortunately, during the past few years, libraries have been struggling to stay afloat. Let me briefly return to Morris's article, The Public Library Manifesto, in which he stated that libraries have always been and continue to be underfunded. In fact, the funding for public libraries has dropped between 10 and 15% countrywide. Why? Well, whenever a town has a budget crisis, the library is the first institution that gets its budget cut. In 2010, 19 states cut funding for libraries, and half of these states cut their budgets by more than 10%. Meanwhile, library usage is increasing by 15 to 30%, and so are the operating costs. According to Gregory Hires, in the article, underfunding and understaffing plague public libraries, New York State has been hit the hardest. For example, staffing for NYC's 3 major libraries has dropped by 21%, which in turn has caused many after-school programs to stop altogether. Even operating hours have been cut by a full day. New York's 3 biggest branches have only opened 4 days a week since 2008. Libraries are vital parts of our communities, yet we are not doing our part to take care of them. The budget for staff and operating costs are being cut across the nation, yet the use of libraries is increasing. If funding does not improve, we will lose an invaluable institution that has been a part of American life since 1833. Therefore, I urge you to help out at your local library or even give a donation. Does anyone have any questions? In that case, thank you for your time. I enjoyed speaking to you today.